weird because the resurrection and the movement of Jesus Christ is a science project. Okay, is a science project. Most scientists don't believe in the truth of the Lord and faith in God. It's based on what they perceive as a flawed theory that we can't substantiate it with, which I've never understood. You know, life's eternal and grace is infinite. You know, I guess because they don't see grace as grace. That's most likely the case with scientific community. Is why would there be the maggot and the why would there be you? There's not much difference between you and the maggot, right? So I understand the maggot. I just don't act like one. I'm not a scientist. Right? Well, they earn that with what they've done to my family, what they did to my mother, what they did to the children, what they did to the women in my life and their children, the horrible things that they did to justify their science projects and justify their violent sex cult manipulative activity, and people getting desperate and trying to find any ways to have comfort and to enjoy love and sexual reproduction that was totally corrupted by the scientific community beyond most people's perception of couth, and horribly, you know. Guys, if you're on an island in the South Pacific and you have a brother or a daughter and some other rival violent sex cult trying to kill you off, and the only person you have to sexually reproduce with is that person, and you're kind people, okay, you're going to sexually reproduce and you're going to stay alive and you're going to try to have kind people to live near that violent sex cult that will kill anybody off to survive. I'm watching some of Mountain Men, you know, Running Moon and all that. And you're, you know, until his head sits on my spear, and, you know, when they have that I gotta conquer and I gotta win type of mentality, you know, that survival of the fittest type mentality, God is my genitalia and my ego. Right? They don't refer to it as grace. Okay. Sam Harris, Chris Hitchens, Richard Dawkins, they don't have faith in the glory of grace. Okay, there's no love in people. It's something they invent to survive nature. And you break them down to the worst thing. You know, only people that have a magical God in their head, you know, because I always smile and say life's eternal and grace is infinite, will continue to be as nice and kind. It's like, okay, well, how come I'm more intelligent than you? How come I have a better immune system? How come I'm more athletic? How come I can outrun you? How come I can outjump you? How come my chi won't let cage fighters punch me in the face and do anything to me? And then I go, okay, you're going to have to quit or it's my turn, right? Okay. And I've been chemically poisoned to the point where most of you would be dead 10 times over and have no hope of recovering and cleaning out your body and living to be 104, maybe more. It would be like a pipe dream for most of you. There's no way this guy can recover. Yeah, you have Chadwick Boseman, right? Jason Vanderbeek, you know. People that put more time and effort and energy into physical activity that makes them healthy and sexy for movie roles than I had time to or would willing to put in. Okay. It's going to take me more than 8 months this time. I'm 60 years old and been psychotically abused by the most jealous scientists in the history of the world. Why all the Chris Hemsworths and all the Jason Bournes and Jack Reachers and Jack Ryans and Tom Cruises look on and act like I don't exist. And I'm like, yeah, Maverick, top your gun. And so, you know, this is nothing new to me. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. And I'm not a comic book creator. I wouldn't invent anything to try to destroy the creation with my ego. That's insane, right? What's in your wallet, right? And so, Earl, man, I'm tired, you know. But I love people. I completely adore people. You know, like I said, you know, I tell people I hate shopping, but I love people, right? That's what makes shopping tolerable. You know, and then they told me last night, it's like, you don't have to talk to anybody when you go shopping. If they talk to you, you can talk to them, but you don't have to. The technology's in a place now where it's just completely just, you know, you're there. You've hit that plateau and it's doing good. I'm like, thanks, guys. That's nice enough. So I don't, like when I went back to Peggy's, and then you don't have to go back. Thanks, because she was really getting mean, and it was really hard. She's mean, right? And because I was concerned, and I was friends, and want to make sure she was okay. It's like she's gonna have to take care of herself because she's too abusive to you, and she's not gonna stop, and they're not gonna stop abusing her, and she's not gonna listen to you, and she's gonna keep abusing you, just like Steffi and Amy and your family. Right? My family's that way too. Right? The scientific community is not gonna stop abusing them. It's called a psychotic break. Okay, life's eternal and grace is infinite. There's a psychotic break where you believe in your invention that has to replace the reality that you put yourself into. Okay. You're not King David. You're not Jesus. Okay. He is. What about him? Remember that lady America reads the Bible? Peter and John? What about him? Well, if you read the Gospel of John, he refers to him and Jesus and himself in the first person. That's the eternal spirit of Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. That's what about him. And during the apocalypse, his name, they call him Earl because he's the second coming of his father Ralph, and he's son of Mary, which is in the Quran, so what about him? There's more evidence to support everything that I share through my faithful prayer than there is anything that you think you believe in pretending you're Jesus and Jesus is your God. You cannot substantiate your beliefs off of any valid evidence at all. All right, me? I've got like boatloads. There's the Quran, there's the Torah, there's the Bible, there's Hindu writings, and there's Buddhist writings. Okay, that Eckhart Tolle has got. It's a great poem and all that stuff. There's the writings of the Zoroastrians and the Zen, whatever's left, and all that stuff. All supports what I say. Life's eternal grace is infinite. It's the eternal spirit of Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John to Earl during the apocalypse, right? So I have, and plus it's scientifically valid. Like I tell my dad all the time, I don't ever doubt that I'm wrong because all the people that tell me I'm wrong, they have no scientific evidence to support their religious beliefs whatsoever. And I have mounds and mounds, and almond joy, I'm just kidding, mounds and mounds of evidence, right? And I can prove it. Okay. As far as prove infinite glory, where are you going to keep it? In a box? Or a book? You can keep it in a book, on a table, on a planet, in a universe, on it, yeah, and so forth. So, yeah. So, like we haven't heard this before. I know. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. I get it. You never were really good at listening. That's why Rumi doesn't talk to you. Okay. He talks to me, but you don't talk to you, right? And they know because they have the scientific evidence to prove it. And then so like Saladin told me in Sierra Vista in that trailer, they think they're all pulling your purse strings, but who's pulling their strings? Everything in life is meant to shine the eternal light on the hands of divine glory, right? And so when I'm watching TV, I was watching this little girl play softball. Right? It was the little girl from Alabama, I think, that I saw got hit in the lady parts with the big. It was right above her, right where the colon, right above her, top of her whoopee. It's where she got hit. Yeah, I was hurting for her. I was like, poor baby. Oh my gosh, baby, that hurts. That's not nice. That's not good. That's not. She was crying, and I was, like Remy Berry when he hurt his knee. I was crying for her too. I wasn't there. I didn't know her that good. Well, we don't know each other that well, but but I know who she is. And I tell people that all the time. If you're fortunate enough that I know who you are, and you pray to Jesus for protection, if you want to stand up for the Lord's Prayer with me, but you're under duress, then I've got your back, and life's eternal and grace is infinite. And I'm the living correction for quantum computing and artificial general intelligence. So some people think they're a living correction. Yes, Andrew Womack, some people know they're a living correction. Some people think. Some people know. Some people don't know. I know. Okay. Well, because we don't have a story about Andrew Womack using the Bible to tell everybody that's Jesus from his ego in the Bible, right? It's just not in there. You can go read it. It's not in there. Okay. It's the guy named Earl who's looks like Jesus in portraits and is the son of Mary and Ralph. That's who it is. Okay. His nephews named Gabe and Mike. I don't know. I know Gabriel is in the Mormon documents extensively, so is Michael. Michael and Gabriel are also in the Quran, Old Testament, New Testament, which is the Torah. Okay. So you have 5 rabbinic documents, okay, that have my nephews from Deming mentioned in the documents. And they also, in Islamic prophecy, there's a lot of extensive prophecy about his name and his mother named Mary, and that he'd be named after the points of contention, Isaac and Paul. So yeah, and from the Iberian Peninsula, where the Moors occupied the quote Christians for years, what Muhammad talked about in prophecy in the Quran. So yeah, and then the Book of Malachi and the prophecy and Melchizedek and stuff. So there's tons of evidence about Isaac Paul Ben Agus being the man who's the nephew, which it says in the Quran, the nephew of the Messiah, and they are of the same family, and their mother's names are Mary. So I'm like, I'm just making this stuff up as I go along. I'm writing books, and I want to be the greatest orator in the history of agnostic atheism, and my name is Chris Hitchings, and please pass the blunt. I don't think he smoked marijuana. I think he just smoked cigarettes, but he's got those smoking cigarettes and drinking. Chris Hitchings was an ass. Okay. And he knew he was an ass, but he thought it was okay to be an ass because these Christians and Muslims are mass murderers through their ego, are bigger asses than he is, right? Me, I'm not an ass, but I can sure make an ass feel like an ass. I'm real good at it. Earl, what? Get to work. Okay. So I'm not an ass. No, guys, you cannot lie to God. The Lauryn Hill, it was wrong. A friend told me, and I found it to be true. Ordinary people, everyday people try to will lie to God. What makes them think they won't lie to you? You can't lie to God. It's impossible. Okay, God's omniscient and omnipotent. You can lie to the Lord. Okay, people lie to me all the time. I've had it in my own family. I'll talk to them about stuff and revelation and prayer and things that are going on, and they'll look me straight in the face, no, and they'll tell me a lie. And I'd be like, would you lie to Jesus like this? I don't lie to Jesus. No, never, not once. No, why? Jesus helps me through everything. Why would I lie to Jesus? Jesus sees all the private moments of my life because we share the same spirit. Okay? I cannot lie to Jesus. For me, it's impossible. For you, you can lie, and he's not going to spy on you because he's not David Rockefeller and the Patriot Act. But he's not going to trust you, and his trust is the greatest treasure you could ever have. And him having your back, life being eternal and grace being infinite, and his capacity to be faithful, faithful, and honest to the point where he can correct all fallacy and all lies and all manipulation through linguistics invented by human beings to try to place natural laws with laws they make up. That's a guy you definitely want in your corner. All you people from Washington Heights putting money together to redo West Side Story and shit. You know what I'm saying? There's a recluse crying all over my grandma and grandpa's picture over there. Yeah, it's trying to keep away from the many what are those guys called? Long legs. Yeah, they're fast and they're hard to catch. No, there is a battle between them and if you don't come and screw everything up, the long legs win against the Black Widows. Okay, the Black Widows have a venom that's a little bit more intense. The recluse has a part that will eat up in your skin and like stuff on my legs. They can say it's spider bites and yeah, whatever. It don't matter to me. We'll clean this river out, and I'll be healthy and clean. I'm one of the strongest. I have one of the most amazing immune systems in the history of the world. It's not thanks to the scientific community. Guys, when we're living the Lord's Prayer and we're cleaning up our environment, we'll all have pretty similar immune systems, and they'll be way better than my immune system today because the immune system is cumulative. Okay, the lowest of low is the highest of the high. Okay. So all our immune systems will be better. And mine will probably be better than yours, but yours will be pretty close to mine, right? Which is nice. But you don't deserve one as good as mine because you didn't you didn't have the courage of kindness and the faith, and that you weren't the focal point of, hey, he's like King David, he's going to save us from Goliath, eunuching and raping and trying to fuck us off the planet because he's strong and quick and amazing, and the chi that runs through his body won't let you sucker punch him in the face to try to gain sexual access to a girl that looks like a Kardashian. Natalie's... I know the Kardashians, past, present, future, operate at the same time. We're like, oh yeah, no, Natalie's gorgeous. Yeah, she always has been. Oh yeah, and Emily and Kate are equally as gorgeous. What makes you think so? Because Ruth and Esther are absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. Okay, it doesn't matter what she looks like; it's all what she cooks like. Roots rockin', roots rockin', roots rockin', and these stupid commercials. Wow, what a Frank Lloyd Wright garage for a supermodel to have a car to drive because he wants to stimulate the economy. Experience amazing, right? And then have your Kraft macaroni and cheese. It's a modern wonder. Okay, Miss Mo, don't be full of crap. You're funny. Mom's and Michelle's and Punchies. Grandma Bowen's. My mom's was good, but I'm pretty sure Natalie would say, my mom was that type of person. How do you make yours? Because that's how Mom learned how to make a lot of her Mexican food. She learned it from Nate Diaz. Because I remember asking her about tamales and tortillas, and she said it's kind of a lot of work and harder to do that. So she made the enchiladas and some of that. She loves rellenos, and she learned how to make her rellenos and her enchiladas from Nate Diaz, and it was really good. Okay, and she said they did, the tortillas and stuff, but Mom was like, "That's a lot of work. I don't have the time. It's too bad." It'd been nice if the Mormons had enough fuck to fry. I bet you if Homer Jordan had done that insider trading thing, that before we left to Thule and bought a house in Thule, that Mom would have learned how to make tamales and tortillas from Nate. And I wouldn't have been fat, no, but I'd been... He's a little chubby, he's a happy pappy. I'd have worked it off. I was the best athlete in the history of the United States. It's fine. Guys, I was turned into a god by a bunch of pervert, home-invading Romans. Right. The spirit of Solomon was not. Okay. The spirit of Muhammad was not. Okay. The spirit of David was. Okay. That's a chi running through that man's body that most of you can't even conceive. Okay, so when I needed to run fast enough to stop a child from being murdered by a bunch of perverts that train at the fort excessively, and I don't train at all, I was going to get there faster than him, and I was going to kick his dick to the back of his pelvis, and he was going to have to sit to pee the rest of his life if he still could, and didn't have to have a surgical, a prosthetic to drain his bladder. Okay, yeah. Okay. I didn't know. I was like, I was even more so than old Bruce Willis's character, when Zygmunt hit me in the nuts and I caught it, I was pissed. And it didn't, most guys fall down, oh, he hit me in the nuts. It hurt. I caught it, ran back to him, tossed it at him and said, you do that again, I'm going to shove this ball up your ass. Okay? He threw it as hard as he could. It was like a 10-yard curl route, and you're supposed to come out of the route, and he threw it right there, and he knew exactly where he was going to throw it. He was a pitcher and he had a real strong arm. Okay, and he, like the whole thing with Harold Klemp, tell the guy I can throw a baseball real hard, the bully. And the bully who throws a ball real hard hit me in the nuts with it. I caught it. I had my hands like this and brought him down real fast, like when Steffi attacked me out of the shower. And I caught it. Wow. And it hit me in the nuts. But I was able to catch it, John Elway passes, the Elway cross. I was able to catch it. Strong enough and hard enough with my soft hands, catch it, and run back and jog back to him and jog and motherfucker. Oh yeah, it hurt, but I jogged back and stride like it didn't even faze me, and tossed him the ball and said, "You do that again, I'm shoving up your ass." And Kaforis and Allen were like, "Yeah, that's why." Sherrod came back to me and told me, "You were like a superstar. Anthony, you did all right, but you did all the drills and did everything. You were like a damn superstar." It's like, yeah, I get it. Yeah. The quarterback tries to hit me in the nuts with a short, crossing route, and when I'm coming in, here it is, and I reached down as fast as I can, how fast he threw it, and caught it, and then told him I was going to shove it up his ass if he ever did it again. And the linebacker was his best friend, the one who called me a faggot when I went in the weight room the next day. And I said, what piece of weight equipment do you want to bounce your head off first, motherfucker? I gave you a compliment and you disrespect me? He's like that fucker with the beard at Walmart. You don't diss me. And the coach, sit there, hey, we don't do that around here. It's like, I'm from Nuevo Mexico, man. I'm from New Mexico. You don't start, static, don't start, none won't be none. Okay? I was respectful and complimented him, and he called me a homosexual. Prove it. I'm stronger than you. I'll prove it to you, too. Swing, miss, bam! Okay? I wasn't going to hit him back. He was going to hit himself on every piece of weight equipment that he moved his body into trying to hit me. I was just going to step aside, bring this hand across the back of his head, right into a plate. Pow! What's next? Okay? Don't ever disrespect me again. You got that? I got your back, so line up right. All right? I got your linebackers. He doesn't get tackled. He doesn't get paid if you don't tackle it. He ain't going to get paid, but he's going to get his head bounced off of every piece of weight equipment at Deer Valley's high school's weight training room. Yeah. Okay. He was the coach's nephew. He was fortunate. There's no such thing as luck. There's some pixies pissing on your windshield. Some homeless people need some money to pay extortion to live here because you suck. Okay? Do you understand? Boom, boom, boom. But I understand the science projects to an insane degree because I have to have a comprehension of these people. And I understand what they're doing. Okay, see, if I don't know who you are, Jesus doesn't know who you are. You're praying to Jesus, you're praying to a comic book character invented by a corporation called the Vatican. We all know about the Vatican, right? The people that gave us the Holy Crusades, Batman. Mass murdering people in the name of Jesus to send people off to do that so no good assholes could do what happened in the Odyssey with Odysseus and Ulysses and lots of Ulysses and Ulysses, lots of Ulysses, that when they left and if they didn't come back, they get to take over the farm and the wife and the wife that wouldn't regularly date Prince John, but King Richard went off to fight that crazy crusade, and it wasn't me who started that old crazy Asian war, but he was proud to go and do his patriotic chore. When someone's looking for a lead, for a duty to his king or to his creed, doing what he feels is right, fights against wrong with his life. No, stand for the truth with faithful love without fear. That's a song for money. I don't do limericks for money. Okay, sure. We all know that. We talked about that this morning, right? No, I like Mary Vitata, but her linguistics is way off. Okay, and we've known that for years. Okay? You can't have faith in a human being. Everybody knows that. Okay? The soul is not a possession. The soul is the essence of life that provides life to you so you can think you have possessions, but you don't, because all we do is dust in the wind, brah. Right? All that hard work, no, that's advertising, and that's a girl having to do stuff for a teacher who has a degree in tell me about the past for money, and then you'll make money in the present and the future to be fucked in the present and the future as much as your relatives were fucked over it in the past, right? Boom, boom, boom. It's for the stay. It's for the stay. Come here, stay. Come here, stay. Oh, God damn it. We're all Stephen Wright's dog. Guy on the couch, right? You didn't know the real killer. He had to fight his brother Nibbles. He said, no, I'm not going to do it, man. Oi, oi, oi. Remember, was it Allie, the fist pumps? And we bruised all her poor little knuckles. She was so cute. Oh, she was adorable, yeah. I had lots of crushes with a lot of the girls I worked with, yeah. I kind of knew that Taryn was interested in me. I was interested in Taryn, too. I just never talked to her about it. Because everybody was always intimidated by my wife, Steffi. I didn't want to make them uncomfortable. I figured if the girl wasn't uncomfortable, she would, Jake's mom was not uncomfortable, but I didn't want to put her in that situation. And I had to marry Amy. It was in prayer because of what they were doing. And I had to protect the women that would be strong, like Michelle and others that would stand up with me and then be killed by the military because it would make me too calm and too strong. And then, if they killed my wife and I had such a good relationship with her, it would have a lot of them probably would have died, and I would be in Mexico right now making these videos saying, El Chapo doesn't live here anymore. I killed his ass. He rapes little girls for money. Hi, I'm the Messiah. I live in Jalisco. Okay. I speak really good Spanish now. Okay. Do you understand? Yeah. So that was left, right, in Albuquerque. Idaho Carrot Festival. A village in Mexico. No, the way the United States military is, they would kill far too many good Mexicans for political, scientific purposes if I turned right in Albuquerque instead of left. So I did what I needed to do to protect as many people as I could from genocidal operations through poor science projects, through tribalism, through border wars. You know me. Why do you think, when all those people came, he's está Jesus. No, yo me llamo es Rafael. So they all thought I was the Archangel Raphael. No, it's my dad. Gabe, and Mike's an archangel, and they're very similar. Gabe's the herald, and I'm the Lord. So yeah, the archangels are the ones that are faithful sources of prayer. Okay, that aren't the ones who get the job done, but they're there to help. Okay, they'll help and they'll do their best, but they're not the guy. Okay, like there's Jonathan, and then there's David, and there's Jesus, and there's Peter, and there's Paul, and there's, what I mean. There was John the disciple, and then John the Messiah, and they're two different people. John that followed Jesus, John for the book of Revelation is the nephew of Jesus through his. It's in the Quran. It's in the book of Luke. I think it's also in Matthew. But that John, Jesus's brother-in-law and sister, conceived a child after Jesus was crucified and moved, and his name was John, and he's the one who's the author of the Gospels of John. Okay, he's younger than, but the thing, he's not. He's the same age, because all the Mark, Luke, and Matthew are all relatives. Which one? One of them is a relative of Timothy. One of them is a relative of, so they're all relatives of. They're all the eternal spirit of those guys. Mark, Luke, and Matthew are the eternal spirit of disciples of Jesus. Okay? And John, who refers to himself in the, what about him? And so Mark, Luke, and I can't remember, is Mark, I think Mark's like Timothy, and Luke is, which one's the one like Paul, guys? Is it Matthew? I think it is. I'm not sure. Okay. And you got to remember, okay, of the disciples and stuff, one of them looks like, John looks like me, and the pictures of Jesus, light ones like David, that were the ones from the Samaritans from the north. And remember I talked to Witness T-Mac, the kid from, we talked about Mark and Timothy and Luke and all that stuff, and told him that, you're related to that family line, and he's African, he's black. Okay, imagine that, guys. People from the Nile, which David says in the Bible, people from the Nile River Valley being brown and or black. Wow, and being the people that are the original source of the Gospels in the Bible. Imagine that, and the Torah. Imagine Moses looking like that. Imagine that. Okay. Wow, a rabbit and a hat and a bat and a 6'4" Impala. Patrice Lumumba's from the northern part of Africa. Yeah, imagine people in the Bible looking like that fellow. Because Patrice and Steve look a lot alike, even though one's from South Africa and one's from... Yeah, imagine that. Wow, a rabbit and a hat and a bat and a 6'4" Impala. Wow. Holy Mount Zion. Do you see it in Mount Zion? Okay, yeah. Moses, yeah. With Charlton Heston from Running Moon, playing Moses. And no, he didn't look nothing like Moses, no. Moses looked a lot like Haile Selassie, guys. Uh-huh. They didn't have that much sexual interaction. There was the Hittites, but the Hittites, Haile Selassie is very, Hittite go home. Look at his nose. Look at his features. Okay, he's very much part Hittite. and Ethiopia, they migrate trains and boats and planes. There was no trains, but there was boats, and there was no planes, but there was feet and horses and gamals and boats, and yeah. Go figure. Jason and the Argonauts. You're funny. I'm sorry, Odysseus. Lots of yesses, right? You're funny, all you Macedonians out there. Alexander the Great, who wanted to be like the relatives of the, he wanted to be in the Valley of the Gods and be one of like the egomaniacs. Well, and he was. He didn't want to be, he was. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. Oh, they'll figure it out. Okay, guys, I love you very much, right? Besides, because Alexander the Great was related to Cleopatra. Guys, she was part Macedonian. Oh, son of a biscuit eater. I think he says, hey, I've read a book once in my life. It was a classic comic book. It was about a guy who had depression, took drugs, and gambled a lot. And I don't know. I think I've read something once. But, guys, it's not really reading. It's listening. Okay. It's being able to, does a fly backwards? You know what I'm saying? Watch what's going on around you. Listen, feel. Okay? There's more education in being kind, respectful, and empathetic, and understanding and loving than there is being dictated and legislated to and taught a lot of symbols and knowing how to use an abacus to fuck with people and then invent something to keep fucking with people if abacus is in your mind and the world is like an apple spinning silently in space, right? And you can be really cute, okay? With the little girl with the glasses, she's cute. Pitching the softball to try to win lots of money for marketing. But it's not going to help you be a better person. But being empathetic and respectful and believing in the living word, it's better than cha-ching. Because cha-ching is just, your pocket money jiggling in your jeans, right? But love is perfect and love is eternal. And the source of love is infinite glory, yo. And if you're a scientist that refuses to believe, that's your issue, not mine. All I got to do is go get the tires fixed so I can see it, pull it, cut it. So I got a lot of cutting to do on Monday, so I got to do that. Yeah, it was kind of a bummer. I was like, I'm not in the mood today. I was like, that's okay. You don't have to because there's a big thorn in your tire and it's going to be so flat you can't cut. Yeah, I'll take it to Soto's on Monday and get it repaired. Okay, guys, I love you very much. Be nice. If you can't be nice, don't worry about it. I am, and I'm the Messiah. All right, peace.